All right, today is the 24th of July, 2026, and I'm going to be looking at some things on the stock market just to get an idea of what's going on. Now, I don't trade manually anymore, so this is just for informational purposes. But even if I did, it is still for informational purposes only. And I guess starting off, let me collapse this because I haven't used this in a while. And I'm going to be starting with the S&P 500. And let's start at the monthly time frame and get some lines going here. I am going to turn, I haven't really customized my display yet, so I'm going to turn a couple of these off because we don't really need these. Okay, so at the monthly time frame, we still have a rising wedge. Now, it looks like we have two potential lines forming, so we could be forming a different pattern, but I mean, it's still going to be a while. The only thing that, so basically the most important line that's going to be happening right now, or that we have, is this one here. So I'll see if I can put some text on it. I'll just say the one. So it's going to be this one right here. Maybe I'll change it to a different color. Yeah, that'll be fine. Because for the bottom, like true bottom, this one is going to hold for a while. But this one is the most important in the near term, right? So I guess if we continue going down and we start closing below this gray line, then again, I'm looking at monthly time frames, so that won't be good. But we also need to confirm if this is going to be a proper swing high here, and then we would have to take this one and this one, which is what the other yellow line is for. So potentially we could go if things keep going, although who knows, right? Who knows? So we would have to wait another month or two to see what happens. But yeah, this gray line is going to be pretty important at the monthly time frame for the S&P 500. Now let me do the same thing, but for weekly time frame, and we get a little bit more information here. And at the weekly time frame, no good respectable swings yet. We have a broadening pattern, which in my experience typically means that we're going to be going down. But let me use this swing high back here, and let's take a look at what could potentially happen. Yeah, so we're at another rising wedge at the weekly time frame. I'll get rid of this line because this one is not that useful. So weekly time frame is going to be green, and then we have yellow here for the monthly time frame. So once again, we're in kind of a rising wedge. Now, at the weekly time frame, what's interesting about this is we're like in the middle of the pattern, right? So in the middle of the two lines. So we could definitely come back down to the low 7,000s over the next few weeks, which would be very interesting. The cool thing though about my algorithms is they make money whether the market goes up or down, so it doesn't really matter as long as we're trending, right? So like stuff that goes up and down like this is not good for my algo, at least the one that I have right now. Later, I'm going to be building a lot more algos that will take advantage of different opportunities. But if we're trending like this, or we're trending downward like this, that's really good. So let's look at daily time frame. And I'm pretty much just going to do S&P 500 and Bitcoin, maybe volatility index, just because that has historically given me quite a bit of good information. But yeah, daily time frame. We're zooming in one more time so you can see the other lines there if you've never seen how I do this. So let's take some swings, and now the lines are going to be white for the weekly time frame. So yeah, even at the weekly time frame, we're kind of on a rising wedge here, right? Now, again, if I incorporate other swings that are more pronounced, then we were forming what would be a symmetrical triangle. But the thing is, the symmetrical triangle is more of a bull pennant. So because we had this really big swing going up here, and then we started bouncing in between here, that's more indicative of a bull pennant, which usually would be bullish per the name. But the breakout started right for these lines right here, which I will temporarily color another color. Let's see. I'll just say pink or red, whatever that is. So those two lines were indicative of that. But then we had the breakout here back in the 1st, 2nd of July. And it was a very slow breakout, as you can see. Also, the volume was going down as it was trying to break out. And that's kind of when we hit this new point of resistance here at 75.67, roughly, right? Had a double top into that, and then we came back down. Now the volume on the way down from here to here increased, so you can see the volume going up. So that's good, right? That's confirming that move down. And then here it's kind of also continued to increase from right around here to yesterday. Today we had a little bit less volume. I'm not sure why, doesn't really matter. But there's a very good chance that this trend continues. And if that's the case, then the pattern that we have to kind of look out for would be, if I revert my lines back to the white, these two white lines, right? Which is basically a rising wedge, kind of, sort of, not really. I mean, it's also an ascending triangle, but the problem is that we broke down out of that, right? So I would treat this more like a rising wedge, even though a rising wedge would be a lot more up like that, right? Whereas this one is like almost horizontal like this. I mean, it's pretty much horizontal, which typically would be an ascending triangle, but we would have to be breaking out over here. And right now, if you look at the triangle, we're right here, right? Off of this line. So off of this line, we are currently right here. That's the cleaner picture. So it's not looking good for an ascending triangle. So yeah, basically, I mean, at this point for next week with the S&P 500, we have a lot of room to the downside, limited room to the upside, right? Because even if next week it goes up, it has to cross the 50 moving average, which, yes, typically with the S&P 500, it's very easy to go above the 50 moving average, right? And there's been lots of times when it dips below and then immediately comes back, right here. This was back 25 June. When else did we have it? Briefly, and then very quickly come back here multiple times, right? Here it closed, came back up, closed for a day, and then the next day, boom, came back up. So it doesn't stay below the 50 moving average. But because it's below the 50 moving average, and if you can see today, we had the wick going up very close to the 50 moving average, but it didn't actually go up. So yeah, basically we need to see next week if it's going to cross above the 50 moving average again. That's pretty bullish, but then it still has to get through this line right here, this white line, right, which for next week would put it basically above 7,500. So in the first few days, if we can get about, let's say, 74.70 and above, that would be good. That means there's some recovery potential there. And then if we start closing above the 7,500s, low to mid 7,500s, which is what this line is, then we're back in the game for a potential ascending triangle, or whatever this pattern is, this very weak rising wedge. Because actually I messed this line up, so I can put it down a little bit like that. But yeah, basically it's still not, I mean, it's one of those transitioning stages of the market where we're moving into a new trend. The only problem is it going to be up or down? And I mean, I'm more biased towards the downside just because whole number amounts like 7,000, 7,100, 200, 300, 400, 500, right? Anything between, like between the thousands. So 7,000, 7,500, 8,000 would be huge levels of resistance. And if I put that on here, let's see where we're at. So I'll throw a line here for 7,000. Okay, so that puts the line down there. Let me put some text on it so we can see. Okay, so that's 7,000. And then we're going to put one on 7,500. And let's see, before I even put it, let's see how many times it has gone above it a little bit and then come crashing back down, right? Because this is 7,500 is always a strong point of resistance. Now let's see where it goes. Yeah, right there. See, for a while, tried, failed, tried, failed, tried, failed, tried, failed. Right. So again, huge level of resistance, 7,500. And then if we were to make it to the next really strong level of resistance, which would be 8,000, that would put us, not 800, at 8,000, which is way up here. So if we make it above 7,500 and we continue to close above 7,500, that would be really good for a potential continued move up. But I mean, the past few times as we've been coming back down, the volume's been increasing, which is almost always very, very strong signal of that move. What if the volume's going up and it's moving up, then that means that's good, right? Like that's a strong move up. But if the volume is going up and the price is staying sideways or coming down, kind of what you see here, that also means that the move towards the downside is pretty strong. So there's a very good chance that we just keep going down. Now, next week, if we make it below the white line, because remember, the white line was the monthly time frame, right? So if we start closing below the white line, that means that our little breakout here is not good, right? And we're going to start coming down. And this has a potential for a pretty big correction. If I just take this here and like, let's say that over the next few months, it crashes, right? We could theoretically, if it comes back down here and then it starts closing below the yellow line here, then it could theoretically come down to the 6,500s. And we've had that happen over the last year. Like it just can't clear 7,000 and now it can't clear 7,500. So who knows what might happen, but we're going to have to find out over the next few weeks. Basically, this next week, if we start closing below this white line, then that's going to confirm the continued downtrend, which again, like I said, it doesn't matter for me because I don't trade manually. My algorithm just does whatever it needs to do. And if the market is, as long as it's trending, right, because this sideways stuff is what jacks me up. But yeah, if we start closing down, that's good. That's good. That's going to be a profitable time. If we have a lot of weeks like this, even if they're all going down, that's good. But yeah, so basically 7,400 is the price to keep an eye on next week. If we cross below that, that means continued downtrend very likely. If we close above the 50 moving average, there's still quite a bit of resistance, like a lot of resistance. And you can see even right here, right? This wick or this candle never made it. I mean, it is like right on 7,500, right? This one was right in the middle. I mean, all of them have touched at some point, but they just can't really make it above. So yeah, lots of resistance to the upside. Very good potential that we continue going to the downside for a little while. We'll see. Once we start trending again nicely, then we'll have a lot better information. But right now, it's just one of those nasty, nasty times. So let's take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin, I'm just going to say really quick because I've been keeping an eye on this one. It's looking bearish still. The fact that the RSI is right in the middle means it can go either way, irrespective, like without even looking at the chart itself. If the RSI is in the middle, that means it's like primed to go in any direction and pretty fast, right? Because usually when it's in the extremes, that's when it's topping off or bottoming out. Like right here, back in the 4th of June, you see the RSI reaching super low and then boom, comes back up here. And then we go close to the oversold levels and then boom, we come back. But basically here we have a bear flag, right? So if you see here, we're going down, building the flag, and then there's a very good chance that we come back down. So I won't do like super in depth, but let me just clear all my drawings and start fresh here. So let me just go to the monthly time frame. And then here also, the other thing that I've noticed here is at the monthly time frame, which is huge, we have a potential inverse cup and handle. So even if at the monthly time frame we recover for a while and go into the 70s, that is still a big problem for Bitcoin because there's a good chance that we still come back down. And this one could be a nasty drop leg. Like if we just estimate from here, right after it crosses right around here, it could potentially go down into the 30s, which is crazy, right? Like, I mean, it's already lost over 50%, I think, or just about 50%. So another 50% is very possible because this is over the monthly time frame. So it's very possible. Now the thing, look at this, the 50 moving average here at the monthly time frame, it doesn't really go below that. But again, because we have the potential for an inverse cup and handle here, then the 50 moving average could be that point where it bounces up, which it already kind of did this month, right? So it bounces up a little bit and then boom, we come crashing down maybe sometime next year, right? Like that's very possible if this scenario plays out. Yeah, this puts us at January of 2027, right? Because it would have to have a few months for it to build a handle, and then boom, it crashes. And let's see if it's done that before. So here we had an inverse cup, and then the handle never formed. Here we had a normal cup and handle, right? There's the cup and there's the handle. Let me draw it on there real quick. There's the cup and the handle, and then boom, it took off, right? That is kind of what we're expecting to see, except upside down. So I just flipped the chart here, right? So we have the cup, the handle, and then boom, look at that. That's how that would work, except towards the downside instead of going up. So it has definitely formed cups and handles. Even here, actually, there's another cup and handle right here if you look. So from here, we got the cup right here. Boom. There's a little mini handle, and then we have our breakout. So lots of cup and handles here at the monthly time frame for Bitcoin, which is interesting. I had never noticed that. But then again, I haven't really been. I just buy Bitcoin no matter what. It's a very small amount every week, but it's money that I'm not gonna touch anytime. Like unless I'm like dying or something, then maybe. But yeah, I don't really worry about the price of Bitcoin. I just keep buying more every week. But it's interesting to know that at the monthly time frame, we could potentially see something crazy like that. Now, at the weekly time frame, once again, look, we have another cup and handle, right? We have the little cup, and then we're forming the handle. And what was I saying about the daily time frame? There's a very good chance we come back down, right? So now, just at the monthly time frame, just because it went up this month doesn't mean anything, right? Like it could go down next month and then up the month before. Like these moves are not perfect. So the 50 moving average here is good. It bounced right off of it, but that doesn't mean, I mean, we could, let's see, because the 50 moving average is at 59,000. So we could go back down into the 50s over the next few weeks. Very possible, especially because the little handle is already formed right here at the weekly time frame. And then if we look at daily time frame, so just like pure technical analysis, let's see if I can get some swings here and get some information off of them. I mean, yeah, see, even here, it's already breaking out technically from its rising wedge that it was in. So daily time frame, we've already started seeing the breakdown from a rising wedge, which is typical, right? Because like I said, it's been forming a sort of bear flag. So this comes down and then it goes up, and the breakdown has already started, which is right here. So really good chance for Bitcoin to continue going down. Now, how far it goes down, again, depends on the time frame you're looking at, but I would say into the 50s is very realistic. I mean, just looking at down here, we're going to have some support at 58,000, right? So very good chance. First of all, it has to break past the 50 moving average, which always is going to be some sort of resistance or support depending on where the price is, where the candles are, right? Either they're above or below the 50 moving average. But then if the breakdown continues, then we have a little bit of support right here at this red line, basically where all these candles bottomed out. See, nothing could pierce this. Maybe because before there was a similar thing somewhere. Because people look way back. Yeah, see, there's a whole lot of action over here from years ago. Well, 2 years ago, but yeah, that's kind of how it works. So yeah, very good chance that because we had a rising wedge here coming, this is the flag off of a bear flag, right? Good chance we continue coming back down into the 50s, and then we'll see. Maybe we go down some more or not, because the monthly time frame 50 moving average is saving us, which is at around 59,000. But again, it has crossed the 50 moving average before. And if that happens at the monthly time frame, like let's say next month we're below 59,000 or whatever the number is by then when it recalculates after a new month, which actually is in 6 days. So yeah, let's see what happens where we start next month, and then we'll see. But very good chance that Bitcoin also goes down over the next week or two. We'll see what happens. So I guess a price to look for would be around 58,000, and then RSI as well is right in the middle, so it's prime for a big move here in the next week or two. And again, my bias is going to be to the downside. Now let me look at the VIX, and that's going to be it for today because I got to go and do other stuff. So the VIX, I like to flip the chart around and just see what is going on. Now, with this volatility index, when it's going up, that means there's a lot of volatility, right? Which means prices are moving, things are happening, things are going crazy. Again, the RSI is kind of in the middle. So again, it's like getting ready to move. And if you look at it here, this line that I put a long time ago, I put this when I was looking at this was back in August. This line, the pink line, for some reason, it keeps coming back down to, and then it goes up. So the fact that we already came down, touched it at 15, and then we're on our way back up, that means we're headed for more volatility in the near future. And again, with the RSI being in the middle, then that means very good chance that it goes quick, right? Like we just start going up in crazy volatility. Like, I mean, look at over here, we were roughly 17 December right here, and then boom, right? We came back down quick. But that's actually a good thing, I guess, because it's stabilized, which makes sense because that's the holidays. But then it comes back to the middle, and then like you just see from here, it's just skyrocketing until what is this, March, and then that's when it hit the high at 35, and then it comes back down and settles down. So these are kind of like, this is the like the heartbeat of the market, right? Like is the adrenaline hitting, or what's going on? You know, like are things crazy? So anyway, the fact that we're at the bottom is not good, and we're just continuing to go up. So this is one thing to keep an eye on, right? Over the next few weeks, if it just continues going up, then there's a very good chance we're headed for another one of these crazy times. I mean, look at this. Back in 2025, we had all the way up to 58 volatility. And then 2024, August, we had a high of, I don't even know how much this is. Well, I guess it wasn't the high, but the wick came up to 66. So these cycles continue to repeat and repeat and repeat. And we have more indicators that there's a good chance things are going to keep getting crazier. So that's going to be it. I mean, gold and silver, maybe I'll do next time, but these are kind of boring, honestly. I tried doing them for a while, and yeah, I mean, I own 0 of these 2 things. So it's kind of pointless for me to do them. But anyway, that's going to be it. If you got anything out of the video, hit the like button. You want to see me again, hit the subscribe button. I'm going to try to make these videos on Fridays now that I have more time on my hand. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.